Welcome. This is the HammerCast. We are the Hammerparkboyz. This is our first 40K podcast. We're going to talk about our games played. We're going to talk about our team development coming up the year and whatever else comes up. Get introductions going here. We got Luke McCarthy to my right. We have Charles. Charles, how do you say your last name?
Burgard.
Burgard. Yes.
Yeah.
Charles, our chef, Burgard.
Right.
Let's get right into it, boys. You guys had a great round at Palladium, hosted by Dumpster Fire GT. You guys had, let's see, when was that? That was back in what? March 15th, right?
Hey, Chris, really quick.
Yeah.
Are you guys I'm catching you on like the back play, you know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Also me. So it's like 5 seconds behind the audio is playing. And maybe how's audio now?
That's much better. Can you hear us? Can you hear it, Luke?
I'm not getting the monitoring that Charles is getting.
Yeah, it's weird. So I'm getting the playback.
Oh, that's weird. You sound much better on the microphone.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you sound like you sound like the Necron robot you are, Charles.
Now you sound like a Necron robot.
Just cosplaying, actually.
Well, Luke, let's go right to your games then. Let's see. Palladium was what, 40 something people?
Yeah, I think it was 42, and we only had 2 drops, so it wound up being 40 flat. So that was really awesome. Great group of guys.
How was the Dumpster Fire guys are great. So obviously we've been playing at Green Dice with them. We've had the GT there, so I'm super excited to be playing with those guys in PA more.
Yeah, no, they're a great group. The only sadness I had was that we didn't get a Sasha appearance.
Yeah,
I think he was busy down doing some stuff with Art of War at that point, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So awesome for him. But yeah, great event all around.
Let's go into round 1. Luke, where was your round 1?
So I was playing into Gene Stealer Cults, and I don't actually remember which detachment it was. All I remember is every time that I've played Gene Stealer Cults so far, it's been a different detachment. So I think they're just going to keep getting more and more detachments the more I play 40K to keep that trend up. I think it was like they had a attack bonus and a charge bonus, I believe.
Yeah, you paid.
It was like, yeah, don't worry. Like if things align right, I can get like a casual like +3 or +4 on my charge, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's really good. Worth noting, definitely. Especially as an army comes in on a deep strike, that's real.
Now, do they have the 3 inches? It's still 6 inches now, but yeah.
Yes and no. So the detachment that I played against, I believe, did. Except the problem was if you used the 6-inch, you could not charge. So he could only shoot. But as he found out to his chagrin and his planning, when you have a lictor that's a 6-inch lone op and you have to be 6.01 inches away and then you can't charge it. And when I put the lictor just enough on the objective so that you can't deep strike onto the objective, it's pretty annoying, I'm not going to lie. So that was an interesting tech piece that just made me not think about those things ever.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about, because like people always say the 6-inch lone op is just so good.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to if you really want to deal with it, you have to commit to putting that in 2 places, because oftentimes I'm pushing both fronts with a lictor to say, okay, you can't deal with this. But if you do both, then you can. Of course, the only tricky thing is you can only use the 6-inch strat once.
Wow.
But you can still deep strike 9 away on the other one, and then you're within 12. So you kind of have to put like double pressure on, but then it's awkward because you don't want to give up 2 things just for 1 lictor.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah. What does lictor cost even? Is it worth it?
No, it's never worth it.
They're annoying as hell, but
yeah. Like for your opponent, they're like, oh man, this should cost so many points because of all the things it can do. And then you swing it in close combat and it makes the Marine take like 1 save, and you're like, no, trust me, you get it now.
It's the LT combi of Tyranids.
If the Lieutenant combi weapon pretended to be almost the Sanguinor.
Yeah, exactly.
Not as good AP, but just as disappointing in close combat. Because it has fights first too, and so you're like, oh yeah, 6 attacks, strength 7 or 8, AP 2 damage.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like I'm just gonna punk this whole Marine squad, and then you do the math actually, not even including Armor of Contempt, and you're like, you killed 2 Marines.
Brutal.
But like you can. I have literally exactly once, not at this event, I don't even remember when it was. Fought first, killed the whole 5-man Marine squad before they swung, and they were real sad about it.
Jeez. So round 1 was tough. GSC, you got tied up, right? I believe.
Yeah. No, it was tough. That army having a reliable comeback mechanic now is great.
Yeah.
Because your opponent can't just roll 10,000 4-ups and be like, you've killed 4,000 points of my army, and here's 4,000 more.
Yeah.
I did have that happen to me at ACO actually.
Oh.
And that was when I was playing Blood Angels, so like I really just kept killing it, and it kept not dying. It was actually, that was a fun one because the guy was just like, I'm just gonna put like my big aberrant brick on the line, and I think back then they had a 4-up Feel No Pain, so like they were really, really annoying to kill.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is Blood Angels Death Company, sir. Don't worry, they will die. Especially because I was old Death Company. But yeah, no, for this one, it was just a big old score fest. He did have bottom of turn, and he actually did wind up clocking out right at the end. But came right down to the wire, of course, and it's hard to score too many more points than we scored.
Yeah. Clock's an asset
I
too, right?
definitely had some subpar draws early on in terms of secondaries, but great game all around.
Awesome. Charles, your round 1. How did you do?
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm playing Awakened Dynasty, which is the index attachment for Necrons. Got a warrior brick that's impossible to kill, essentially, and a bunch of destroyers to support them. And I play round 1. We're playing on Purge the Foe, which is kill points, against Felix's Star Shatter Necrons. I played Star Shatter when it released for about a month before it got nerfed the first time. And we went back to doing other stuff because it didn't seem that useful for teams prep.
Yeah.
Still solid, but there are better options, I think. He had the Silent King. He had big destroyer bricks. He had the Monolith, which is unusual, and he also had the Nightbringer, which isn't quite unusual now, but it's up until then, I haven't seen it much.
Yeah.
Basically, Necrons, particularly my build, maybe some builds can, but I can't kill the Nightbringer, and I could kill the Monolith. I can't really kill the Silent King, especially with -1 damage. So I just kind of let them do their thing. He can do a lot of damage to me with my warrior brick because of ignore mods, but he can't rightly pick them up. Absolutely not in an activation, and it took him. He never killed the brick.
So just so everyone knows, you're running that giant blob of warriors that I hate to play against. The unkillable blob.
Warriors, the Technomancer with the stealth enhancement, so it's also got a 5-up Feel No Pain.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever fought something like this, but it is demeaning. You put in all your effort into this army, and it's like, wow.
Have you just tried battle shocking it? I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah, I know. Tiered players over here, just like battle shocking everything. But yeah, no. Makes me wish I run some little sisters with some flamers to battle shock you.
It's very much a build where a lot of things just can't handle it, especially not in an activation, which is the most useful way to deal with them.
Yep.
So a lot of armies, you just send them all over the place, and you've got OC2 all over objectives / tagging like tanks or whatever the hell. It's very difficult to interact with, and also the characters get back up when you kill them the first time. So unless you're on the objective with them, you just score extra primary.
Wow.
So what happened on this game? I had second turn, which matters a lot on Purge the Foe. So I did.
I think it matters a lot. Period in 10th edition right now. I'm not gonna lie. My go
Especially
first win
on
right
Purge.
versus my go second win right is just so much better now. But yeah, sorry.
So I went second. I had experience in the Star Shatter, although I hadn't played it against it before, just playing with it. And I definitely lost a couple extra units that I probably shouldn't have, just destroyers wise, because they're so easy to kill. Besides the characters themselves, but I won 94-57.
Wow.
So because it was really easy for me to match and exceed kills, he could never kill the warrior unit. And while I couldn't kill the Nightbringer or the Monolith or the Silent King, I could kill all of his other stuff around there relatively easily.
Did you ignore the Sound King the whole game?
Essentially, he ended up on the middle, just surrounded by warriors, like turn 4, and stuck in combat with him until the end of the game.
Oh, this is Purge the Foe, right? Round 1?
Yes, Purge the Foe, exactly.
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, it's mission B, so it was Purge the Foe on tipping point.
It's funny you recognize that early on in the game where it's like, hey, if I kill the rest of your army, you can't score.
Yeah.
Your Sound King must be big and bad. I think a lot of players get baited into that nowadays. It's where it's like, I have this big bad thing in the middle, come deal with it. When really it's like, hey, if I kill the rest of your stuff, I'm going to beat you, you know? And I think it's nice that you recognize that fast, you know?
Yeah, like the Silent King is just so, like, with the -1 damage, the Silent King can't do anything to him, basically. Maybe he'll like a Minear or 2 if I don't pile him.
Yep.
Whole army shoots at him, sure, maybe that's a thing, and charges. Same thing with the Monolith. Like, the Monolith doesn't have an end bolt, and so it's like, so I could, if I got like 2 units of score peck and some shooting in, then I could kill it, but if he was far enough away that wasn't happening for I tied it up with warriors. That's what I did.
So a comfortable win round 1, which feels pretty good.
Yeah. Oh,
start the morning off.
One cool thing that happened in that game, he put a Triarch Stalker, which are the big scout spiders that have that you measure from their base or hull, which is just, they don't have a base, which is legs.
Yep.
He put it on the middle to sabotage and force me to do something about it, and I didn't kill any shooting. And I had a unit of Flayed, but I did get up to like 5 wounds, so I had a unit of Flayed ones charge it. And Flayed ones, if you don't know, if the unit's below half strength, they get critical hits, so sustained on whatever they hit on. So sustained on 3s.
What?
Flayed ones have twin linked, and
those last 2 Flayed ones are really angry.
Yeah, they're all the time. Yeah,
they're strength 4, so they wound the Stalker on 6s, but Awakened has a +1 strength strat, so I did that. So they were wounding on 5s or rolling with like 50 hits or whatever the hell it was, and I killed it with Flayed ones. It was great.
Wow.
That was definitely the
once in a life. Yeah, the once in a lifetime you'll ever use that strat on Flayed ones.
Exactly.
On an under half strength unit too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very, very. Yeah, a lot of stipulations there. Round 2. Luke, how was your game?
It went well. I rebounded a little bit, and I was playing into guard, and I realized as Charles was talking that I didn't actually explain that I'm playing Vanguard Onslaught.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you kind of assume that with lictors, but they're just a good data sheet, so a lot of times they pop up into Invasion and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I had 3 strong Gene Stealer bricks, 10 mans with Broodlords, a 6-man melee warrior brick with the Winged Prime, and then just a whole bunch of scoring trash, although I did have a 6-man Zoanthrope unit, as well as the Neuro Tyrant with the giant flamer that it was joined by.
Wow.
And that was a really interesting unit. I didn't wind up using it in the way that I thought I would as much as I did. But what was interesting about the unit is Vanguard Onslaught have a uppy downy stratagem, which you can pick 2 of your Vanguard Onslaught units, which is absolutely wild.
That's very nice.
Or you can pick 1 infantry unit. So I always joke with my opponent, like, I can pick up my Biovore, but I'll never do it. Spoiler alert, I did in round 4, and that's why I lost. But more on that later. But so, like, you don't really or normally do the infantry unit, but since Zoanthropes are actually infantry, when they join the Neurotyrant, you can uppy downy that whole unit, which lets you, like, cut some nice angles. Of course, the only problem being that it's strat reserves and not true deep strike or anything. So you can't put them everywhere, but a lot of times you want to put them on the outskirts so that when you cut the angles, you're like, I can see you. Hopefully you die, and there's not much that can see me back. So yeah, it's a real fun stratagem, definitely, and it really helps the fact that these Move 5 models exist and are not getting anywhere otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, so round 2, I don't even remember what the mission was.
Like, Bridgehead you're playing. Oh man,
yeah, and so I was like, oh man, like this is a problem, you know, all that jazz, right?
Yeah.
So my one defining feature of playing this game was I was like, okay, like I know Bridgehead can be real bad, so I'm gonna want to play a little bit cagey.
Yeah. 40. Yeah, I'm looking at his list right now. 41 Wow.
It was a lot of things.
40
This was Terraform, so I did wind up going second on this, which was nice.
Okay.
And the thing that a lot of people don't realize until you sit down on the table is almost regardless of deployment type. Although in this one, I'm looking, it was Crucible, but almost regardless of deployment, when you have Gene Stealers that scout 8, and then advance and charge after moving 8, you just do the math and you're like 16 plus, 3 or 4. So like I'm ending my movement like 2 or 3 inches away from your deployment zone and then charging.
Yeah.
Of course, you can have infiltrators and technically scouts.
Did you get first drop?
That.
Second, do you remember?
So for this one, I don't, because I remember saying, "Do you have infiltrators?" And he said, "Yes, I have Gaunt's Ghosts." And I said, "Oh, interesting." I said, "I wonder if you're going to put them in the middle and sacrifice them turn 1." He said, "I will not." He told me that right before deployment even started, which frankly I kind of guessed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it didn't matter. And also, even with a 5-man unit, like if you do the math when you stretch it out, you can get like on Crucible, you can get like the center blocked and you can get one of the sides blocked, but then the other side you really can't block, that is. And what's also awkward is that if you have a unit that, is like a 5-man that gets strung out, it stops the movement phase, but obviously you're just giving your opponent a slingshot charge, a guaranteed turn 1 kill.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to really block out everything, you're giving up overwhelming force, almost guaranteed.
Yep.
You can kind of work around it, but then you're letting them scout because of how the angles work. So you have to commit a lot of sadness if you're trying to stop your opponent. And I also took a Warlord trait that gave me a 3-unit redeploy after all was said and done. So I could deploy either lictors. Well, it was always the lictors, but I could deploy the lictors incredibly aggressively just to guarantee scouting spots, and then pop them up, put them somewhere useful or reserves, and then say, okay, well, at least I can scout there. And there wasn't a way you could stop that.
Right. Wow. And we're playing on layout 1 also, so there's that big wedge that you get to scout.
Love me some layout 1 wedges.
Scout right into that little corner thingy.
Oh, yeah.
And this varied by table, but also some of the tables, you could definitely put like 1 or 2 models into the very nook of the V, which meant that it just projected another like 3-4 inches of threat range in terms of your charges.
Yep.
I mean, that happened in pretty much all my games.
Right.
But no, this game actually was hilarious for a number of reasons. So just overall, the Bridgehead guy, I don't know if he was a newer player or a little bit less experienced with the army, but he definitely played very, very passive. And again, part of that is you have to deploy somewhat passively, especially with Bridgehead. You don't have a fallback and do stuff strat.
Yeah.
And like he put a fair bit in reserve because, Bridgehead. So like he could have lost the game on the spot if he had deployed too aggressively, but he did not play the game aggressively enough to come back off the back foot, especially because I had second turn.
Yeah.
And he did have some of the enormous artillery pieces that, for reasons I don't understand, are infantry. But yeah, really? It was funny. They're like, I think they're on 130 millimeter bases. I kid you not.
I'm looking at his list here.
Sure, they're guns. I don't know, man. Guns.
It's a bigger base than a War Dog.
He had the artillery teams, right?
Yeah.
If you say so.
Yeah,
they do shoot bullets, and they're on bases bigger than my hopes and dreams. That's all I remembered.
Okay.
But so they have a really good shooting profile, but of course they're shooting indirect 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And also their guards, so
Force.
the same. Yeah. But what was hilarious is he told me, he was like, "Yeah, these things are bad. They're not going to do anything."
Why'd you put
them
on your
list?
This
profile, and I found out that day. I don't know. And to be fair, this was round 2, so maybe they just had a bad round 1.
Yeah.
But it was weird because like you look at the profile and you're like, this should work.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, his prophecy came true. It did not work.
Oh wow.
And the most absurd moment in the game, I think, was with first turn, he drives a Chimera up with 10 Catachins or whatever,
Jungle
10
Biters,
guard,
probably,
10
yeah.
guard bros inside.
Yeah.
I
Hops out of the
drop
ring.
my Zone Thropes down, pop it. He gets out, and I charge the 10-man unit with my Raveners, who famously only disappoint in close combat.
Oh, every time.
And they did not fail to disappoint. They left one guardsman alive. So, whatever. Like, I tri-pointed it just for fun. He falls the guardsman back onto the objective, but it doesn't make a difference because I have a Lictor there, and he's a Battle Shook guardsman.
Battle Shook.
But what was crazy, this was my natural expansion up near the left-hand side of my V. And his whole army is still behind like his home ruin, basically, or like fighting on the opposite approach of the natural expansion. And what was super crazy is, I had my Lictor on the very, very back edge of that objective to make sure that I would still score primary regardless. But the crazy part was he took his 2 batteries and shot them both at my 3-man Ravener unit because I believe they're 3 damage and Raveners are 3 wounds.
Yeah.
It was just a match made in heaven. And he killed exactly 0 Raveners, which was crazy. So on my upcoming turn, I took those 3 Raveners, advanced them directly to his home objective, and charged it. I wasn't able to take it from him because despite Shadowzing on that turn, he passed some Battle Shock tests, but that was mostly because I tossed Death Leaper up there as well, and he failed a rerollable 6.
Wow.
But regardless, like,
Happens.
he's just like in his own like home battlefield. He had to at one point the very top back corner of his deployment zone, like where the home and ruin is, but like that corner, that's where he had to put one of his 15-man units at one point.
Oh.
And they killed those 3 Raveners real dead.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
But that was all they did. So yeah, it was kind of like a whole game of him fighting off the back foot really, really oppressively.
Yeah.
Because I just kept, just trying to delete his home objective and the units that he put there. Like, he was never holding the outer edge, I don't think, at any point.
Yeah, if you get turn 1 as Bridgehead, I mean, turn 1, anything as period, you just need to be pushing. Like, you need
exactly, and that he didn't realize that, I think, until after the game. And again, Lictors, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You're like, do I really want to push onto this Lictor and have him just press the lone op button? But if you never do that, that's how you score no points.
Then you get, your next turn you have 3 CP, and you're just like, okay, here we go. Like, now you're playing a game, and he's not playing a game. So
correct. Yep. And I still did score 100 on points, but I realized I screwed up Terraform.
Who doesn't?
Sure, exactly. I literally told Charles, I'm like, I'm going to read this like 5 times, and I'm still going to mess it up somehow.
Yep.
But yeah, I accidentally shorted myself points on that. I forgot to Terraform with both of my Lictors simultaneously because I thought I could only do one. So I was like, I'll do it next turn.
Yep.
It still worked. And again, I still scored 100. But yeah, it was just weird. But yeah, nice. It was like he was playing this game inside of his own Mind Palace, and I was just playing 40K. And Vanguard does that to people, man.
Vanguard does it to people, man. There's not a lot of Tyranids players out right now. There really isn't. And
most of them play Invasion Fleet truly because it's more all arounder. Yep. Shout out to Sam Lucidi, who I played at the last GT they did at this place.
Yep.
And dude, the things he thought my army could do. He thought it could rob him blind and steal his lunch money. He thought it could loan op multiple units.
Yeah, you're not elves.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I've always joked with him that, when we played that game of 40K, he was playing all 14,000 possible futures, and I was just playing one game of 40K. And Vanguard really does that to people because they have so many things. Oh, you have a 2-unit full 6-inch reactive move? That could screw things up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that in Stormlands.
Yeah, no, it's great. And especially with the Hive Tyrant reducing the cost of that, as long as I don't screw up my positioning, it's really, really hard to play around.
Yeah.
So that Guardsman player did not.
So an easy round 2 then. You had a nice Nice bridgehead matchup. I think Charles.
There's no
did you
such
play
thing as a
Necrons
nice
again?
match.
No, I played into guard also, but it was
You played into guard also.
The index attachment.
Oh wow.
And, yeah, this guy.
There were a lot of guard players there.
It was hot, right? It was. Well, I think guard just dropped like a couple weeks before, right?
Gun models.
Fairly.
Yeah.
Guard's just kind of popular there. It's a strong.
Yeah.
But Justin was playing combined arms. Luke also played him, I think, next round or something like that. So he was a cool guy.
Yes, that's correct. I got Charles's round 2 opponent in round 3.
Nice.
So he's running a list with, he's got double Dorns, the Dorn commanders, because they're so good.
I hate those things. Yeah.
Yeah. He's running.
They're real good.
It's the one that gives extra AP, I think, which is like an autocannon Russ or something.
Yeah. So he's playing probably a Hellhound and.
Yeah. Hellhounds for ignore cover. I think he had one of those at least, maybe two. He had 2 Chimera packages that drop out and do stuff.
Did he have the Death Corp blob?
Yeah, Death Corp blob, which didn't really do much. It died to like warrior combat.
Okay.
And Zera's
which
combat,
happens.
So once again, I think this whole tournament I went second, which is mostly good except for the round I lose.
That explains your placing then.
Well, it explains why I went 4-1 because I played one detachment. One I wanted to go first, and 2 I didn't.
Yep, that's exactly what happens, right?
So I go second on Terraform. He runs up a unit, kills my flayed ones with the Chimera scouting and moving and disembarking, and then he kills flayed ones.
Yeah.
On my expansion objective, so so he goes kind of aggressive. He puts some stuff on each expansion, some rattlings and some catatins. And he tries to. So I told him it's difficult. Like he's gonna have trouble killing the warriors. It's totally something he could do because. Guard has access to so much blast weapons, and it's also blast like multi-damage weapons, so my Feel No Pain doesn't matter as much. But so he speculatively shoots me for basically no reason because he's not going to kill the unit turn 1. And I reanimate forward. I advance onto the objectives. I take those off of him. I charge the other one. My expansion objective I charge with Scorpec and Imotech's unit with Lich Guard, which is just supposed to be a tanky unit. Take it back off of him, and I set up for round 2. I give him a 4 on primary. Take away his terraforms. He was terraforming on 2 objectives, and I set up to take guard shooting to the face. He does not do that much damage this turn. I think he takes me down to like half, and then I reanimate forward back onto the objectives.
The worst.
Warrior stuff.
The worst.
Yep. So my whole goal for these first couple turns is just to kill like what I can for free, which is like catechins, rattlings, whatever he gives me.
His scoring pieces, yeah.
And tag the rest because I'm not in a position where I'm getting charges into tanks with like destroyers or anything like that.
Makes sense.
So I do exactly that. I tag his Russ, I think, the Lehman Russ, and he sets up. So he sets up again to shoot into the warriors, and this time he gets me pretty low. I end up having to pull coherency such that I pull the Lehman Russ tank out of line of sight, so he doesn't get to shoot it. He got to shoot both the Dorns. He got to shoot his Krieg blob. He got to shoot his mortars and a bunch of other stuff. And he got me down to 2 warriors and a wounded Cryptothrall.
Wow.
I was like, all right, cool. And I had to pull one of the warriors and the Cryptothrall to reestablish coherency because they were behind a wall on the other side of like basically.
As it happens.
Yeah. So he got me down to 1 warrior, which is for that tournament. Yeah, for that tournament, that's the closest somebody got to killing that. And then I reanimate forward. I think I use my Res Orb also, and then I go back in and charge stuff and tag. I tag tanks again for the rest of the game.
Wow. So he's just permanently hitting on 4s and 5s the entire rest of the game.
Yeah, like extra things with blast weapons.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah. So that's good. So you just neutralize them with your warrior brick, which
and I'm basically doing the same thing with Xeris is doing the same thing, and so are the Scorpec packages. The Scorpec packages will kill like a Russ. They'll do damage to a Dorn. They'll take it at least a half wounds. If it's the full unit connecting, but they won't straight up one tap it because even the Lord is winning on 5. He's only strength 10 with attacks. But I basically we're at that point where I've got my expansion secure now. I'm holding the middle comfortably, like past the middle. I'm holding where I'm tagging all of his army, and I'm just harassing his expansion objective with Scorpec and
the little stuff.
Even the Locust Destroyers too. And he can't do anything about it. So, and then when he kills a character, first time I back up and I tag something else, I kill like a Scorpec Lord will kill a guard unit because he's got 8 attacks on the sweep, whatever the hell he needs to do. And I won that game 86-47. I scored most of my secondaries except for I think the bottom of 5. I only scored one of them.
Okay.
But he outscored me on secondaries. That's kind of where I lose out on. I get 30 on secondary points instead of
the 40.
Anything better, right?
Yeah.
I almost maxed primary. That's just kind of how Terraform's going to go.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to Terraform until turn 4.
Wow. So both of you guys are well. He's a tie. You have 2.
Yeah.
So we'll call it 3. X and O asterisk.
X and O and asterisk. Yeah.
So something I mostly knew on layout 1 that I adjust for future games is that I usually like to keep, especially against shooting armies in general, I like to keep one of my melee units in reserves to rapid ingress. But against an army like Guard, where they have enough guns that they can populate all of the shooting lanes on layout 1, like where you would want to ingress, it's not worthwhile to do it. So I made that mistake. I just started them on the board for the rest of the tournament that way.
That makes sense to me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of knew this with CSM also, just because if you don't have deep strike, you've got to come in on 6 inches from the board edge.
Yeah.
And layout 1, as good as the centerpiece is for staging, it's not great on the edges so much.
It's my favorite from me. So we had lunch. Was lunch good? Was lunch bad?
Yeah, we already had lunch. They provided us pizza.
Yeah, we had lunch before round 2.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. All right. That's
they knew to bring the vodka grandma pizzas. It was absolutely.
Dom would be proud.
They help. It's really nice, and they also use that to shrink. Like the lunchtime is only.
Yeah, that's huge, right?
What?
That's huge. I mean, having lunch right there, it saves you an hour, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Saves
it really does.
Time, makes things easy, and it's nice.
Yeah,
and something that they did that I think was great for some of the newer players, and frankly, I didn't complain about, was it was a 3-hour round, and they didn't really have pre-round timers in terms of you'll have 15 minutes before the round or anything like that. But what they did was they were like, okay, so what we'd like you to do is once you guys finish your spiel and start deploying, that's when you start your clock. And I thought that was an interesting idea because it gave everyone, the same amount of time from deployment.
Yeah.
And also allowed people to feel good about explaining their armies to their opponents and saying this, that, or the other thing.
Yeah.
What they did was they sort of won that back in between. So if the round timer officially ended, then you'd have a little less than 15 minutes before the next one. And same with lunch, you would just have a bit of a shorter lunch. But I thought that was an interesting idea. I don't know if it's really any different than the 15 minutes of pre-round timers, but it kind of was cool how it set everyone on the same footing in terms of how much time they actually had for playing the game. So I thought that was cool.
Cool. So you had lunch round. That's actually kind of nice. I actually like that a lot. I like the clock. I like that where clock is being kind of more standardized in our area. I know it's big in our area at least, but I think
especially with 2.5, so you gotta
2.5. You gotta run. But cool. All right. So round 3, we are cruising along here. We have
we're playing Mission A on round 3, which is take and hold tipping point. Really
oh god,
just classic
just
Warhammer.
Play Warhammer.
Just play
stop,
Warhammer.
Stop terraforming.
Luke, you did another 95 you put up. Wow.
Yeah. My army is a primary depression army. I'm gonna do my best to score primary because of all the things I'm throwing at you, and I'm gonna do my best to stop you from scoring primary.
Yep.
And that was what happened with the guy that I got in round 3. It was the same guy that Charles had played in round 2. So I beat a guard player and was awarded with another guard player. This guy actually, he's played a couple different things. I played him back when he played Chaos Knights. We had a really close game.
So familiar. Was it Justin?
Yeah, you would recognize him, I think, if you saw him. But yeah, he's a good guy, good player. And he was definitely more aggressive than my second round opponent was, which was important.
Yep.
Because he actually did wind up going second. and got the full 15 on bottom of 5.
Nice.
But because I had depressed his primary so much prior to that, he still only scored 35 on primary.
Yeah.
Which was really kind of the defining factor there. I think we pretty much hit parity on secondaries, or he maybe outscored me a little bit now that I think about it.
My arms can do that.
Yeah, because he technically scored 39 and I only got 35 because I got the full 50 on primary. But yeah, it was the same thing where I was just like, he said after, he was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to hold the middle objective against your army. And I said, me neither. So you're throwing like random guardsmen and stuff. I said, I think you have to give me like one of your big tanks and make me try and kill it, because the end of the game, I don't think I allocated an attack to either of his Dorn commanders.
Wow.
And I just said the thing, they're back in his home field. So therefore I don't care, and everything that's in the middle dies, and I take your home field once because shadows. Like just keep sacrificing my army for points, and your army does not get as many points.
Yeah.
But he played it much closer. I mean, it was it was an 11-9 at the end, WTC.
Oh, wow.
Which, again, like, is not bad at all.
No.
A lot of that was the go second advantage, truthfully, but still, even as you're having a tough time holding the center, scoring 39 on secondaries, like,
is pretty good.
Is good. Yeah, good player.
Pretty good. That's awesome. So Justin, awesome play. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Charles, what did your round 3 look like?
All right. Yep. So I play into Anthony's shooty bile list, and I told Anthony before Anthony.
Vanilla.
Yeah, I told Anthony Vanilla beforehand. I was like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't do us for this. But he's running Creations of Bile with 6 obliterators, so max obliterators. He's running 15 Terminators, 3x5. He's running 2 units of Las Cannon Havocs, and then he's running some like Legionaries. He's running Bile with like 5 Chosen. No transports, nothing like that. No possessed. No.
Transports don't have guns, Charles.
Transports don't have guns. You don't need them.
It's very much the shooty list because he's picking ballistic skill, even though he's got Bile on the list.
He's not rolling. He's not risking it. He must have the shooting.
Taking ballistic skill, which I just don't understand because the main draw, like all the obliterators did this game was just barely, by the way, indirect out my flayed ones turn 1.
Yeah, but like, did you know that when you're indirecting, you're hitting on 4s and no one cares what your ballistic skill is?
It didn't really matter at all that they had ballistic skill. But anyway, I'm playing just like normal Warhammer. I'm like, he can't interact with the warrior, but he can't kill it outright with anything. Even with because if you had like all of the oblits are 2-man units, so even with their blast profile, they're really not doing that much. Between cover and armor contempt, it's ridiculous. And he didn't even have like the 10-man chosen, so he had no melee pressure into the warriors with like wound rerolls because 5-man aren't going to kill 20 warriors.
Yeah.
But we get to turn 2. I set up on my turn 1. I set up on my expansion with one of the locust units. I set up in the middle with the warriors. I'm ready to ingress, which ingress matters against Creations of Bile because, especially shooty Creations of Bile, because he's only got 18-inch range.
Yeah. The big ones, right?
Yeah, exactly. And 24-inch doesn't cross the board anyway, so you actually get to ingress meaningfully. So I do that. So I set up for my ingress. I'm setting up the warriors. There's Xeris and the warriors in the middle. There's a Locust Destroyer unit on my expansion. And I'm like, all right, he's not going to be able to interact with them too much. Maybe he kills the Locust unit in shooting, but the character just gets back up and holds the objective anyway. So he drops all of his Terminators. The Obliterators walk out from behind the wall and shoot Destroyers. And he does his shooting. He kills the Locust unit in shooting between the Obliterators with the blast profile because I didn't let him get within 18 for the.
Makes sense. Seems like a smart thing to do against.
Yeah, so I was like, he might not even kill this unit, so I don't even have to pay the CP and I get my primary anyway. But he does. I get the character back up, and he nails a 9-inch charge with the Terminators, and I'm like, oh, that sucks, but whatever.
Yeah.
He nails another 9-inch charge with his other unit Terminators and the Warriors. That really doesn't matter, but it's just like more displeasing me at this point because he's making all these charges. And then we get to me ingressing on the other side. He has an 11-inch charge to my Scorpec, and he rolls boxcars and gets that in. And I'm like, oh, this might actually be bad. He didn't touch because he didn't touch the Scorpec at all, but he kills the Scorpec with the Terminators. I roll a little low, he rolls a little high. Then with hit rolls with strength 8 matters a lot into like a T6 3-wing profile.
Yeah.
But he doesn't kill the Lord. The Lord kills like 3 of them on the backswing, and I'm like, all right, wait.
From there, you're kind of bouncing.
I'm a little hesitant, but I'm still scoring a 10, and
yeah.
The big thing I'm worried about is my expansion, because he's made the charge with the Terminators onto that objective, killed my Locust unit out right now, and I've only got a Scorpec unit, Imatex unit over there. And Scorpec really need to go charge all of his Obliterators and kill as many as they can and tag the rest so they don't do anything for the rest of the game, which is what they do.
Yep.
But Imatech decides to be a freaking boss. He does mortals to the Terminators.
Oh.
He does mortals to the Terminators. He kills one in shooting with like his staff and his heavy flamer. Actually, no, I shoot. So he has a unit of 10 Plague Marines also that he ingresses in, and this is why I thought I was going to have a bad time because
the flamers.
Well, because of the Plague Marines and the Terminators, I didn't think Imitex unit could shoot through them, or at least survive because they're all even before it.
Yep.
But I kill 2 of the Plague Marines in shooting with Imitex gun. I charge and I kill like 3 of the Terminators, so they're down like 2 at that point. It doesn't matter too much. I kill 4 Obliterators and tag the rest with one of the Scorpec units. The Xeris and Warrior unit are like duking out with the Terminators on the middle. I kill like one of them with the Crypto Thrall, which is nice. But it doesn't matter. It's my objective. We're all set there. And I go ahead and I charge other stuff in. I kill the other Terminators with shooting from my Locust unit. And my path to attack his expansion is safe for next turn.
Nice.
Look at there. He's not going to have primary anymore.
It seems like you did pretty well against this one. I think you put up 96 points on this one.
I got 96 on this. Yeah, wow. 96 to 57 was the final.
I mean, it's taken hold. Score primary.
Yeah,
primary for everyone.
So yeah, even with that, I think I maxed primary even with him knocking me off my expansion turn 2.
It's awesome. So the pressure armies, how do you play that differently with
this isn't even a pressure army. He only made pressure here because he made like deep strike charges really.
Yeah.
But you do have to play it differently. Like if this was like the regular Creations Violist with 20 possessed and
that's that's a whole different ballgame.
And have access to wound rerolls into
and then they got devs, so it's just like you pop the devs and then now you have a
it's a lot more scary. Like,
beautiful.
Yeah, so I didn't have to worry about any of that.
Cool.
But
so that's good. So round 3 felt pretty good. Everyone scoring 90 plus points here. It's kind of wild.
We got to charge my expansion with the
yeah.
But he had to deal with the Scorpec that were in combat with his Obliterators too, so he decided to fight there first.
Yep.
I interrupted with Imatex Lichguard unit, and I did the Strat for +1 strength, +1 HP. And I killed 6 of the Plague Marines on the interrupt, which like, damn, all right, cool.
Yeah.
We're gaming. We have that objective clear again. We're safe. I definitely thought I was going to lose primary on that for the rest of the game, but I didn't because of the boss, apparently, and we were all set there. 96-57.
It's awesome.
Make like one of his charges from deep strike, then that's like it's even bigger.
Yeah, even worse then. So that's day 1.
Hold such a handshake. Everyone scores 40 plus primary. Good talk. You know,
yeah, it is. Cool. So even elves score 40 on taking hold. So day 1 wrapped up. Guys stayed local, I'm guessing, and then day 2. Was it just 2 games the next day, or was it just?
It was only 2. Just 5 rounds. They did it right.
I know
they could have sorted out a lot more of the top if they had done a 6th round.
Yeah,
but nobody was complaining about that.
I enjoyed the 5-game GTs. I mean, I do. It's time for me to go home and travel and see my kids at night.
Yeah. So. Well, and like everyone who's in like medium positions, you know, like I would have loved a 6th round, you know, because I think I probably could have won it and then maybe podiumed.
Yeah.
But like, you know, get good, win your first 5 games. You don't have to care.
Yeah. Cool. So round 2, this is the finals pretty much of day 2. Luke, you ran. Let's see who you ran into here.
So I ran into Justin. He was running Packbound Zealots.
Okay.
I actually played him at ACO this previous year. I was doing Blood Angels at the time, and he's a great guy, very good player. And the game that I played at ACO, I had Sanguinor, and I was like, Sanguinor, if you can just do this one thing, I win the game. Okay, well, you didn't do that. Okay, try again. If you can do this other thing, I win the game. He's like, no, I decline. All right, Sanguinor, third try. Just don't screw this up. I win the game. No. So he beats me in like a squeaker.
Wow, I see this
at ACO.
by 1 point also against him here.
Wow. But unfortunately, I did play a perfect game of 40K. There was nothing I could have done.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
So I can at least take some solace in that.
I'm sure.
That was a wild ride. And it was very interesting because the two biggest things that I point to, although there were no less than 7 things that I did in the last turn or two of the game that could have scored me that last point. One was uppy downing the actual Biovore, the meme that I told you about, right?
Yeah.
So I have to do it in the end of his turn. This was going into top of 5, and very tight game. This I think was Burden of Trust. So we're back to playing stupid missions again. But all I have to do is score a couple primary points, and I'll be A-okay. Or sorry, a couple secondary points, I'll be A-okay. And let me double check. I don't remember what the one that I drew was, because I remember I scored it incidentally. It was, containment. Easy.
6.
Easy 6. And so I just have to get literally anything else. And so I uppied my freaking Biovore off my home objective, because I'm like, he'll probably want to go do something. You know what I drew? Do you know what I drew after I uppied my Biovore?
What'd you draw?
Take a guess. What's a great 3-point secondary that a Biovore standing on your home objective could have scored?
Oh no!
Defend Stronghold. And this was one of the ones where it was not 10 inches from the side. Or sorry, maybe it was 10, but whatever. You can't strat reserve into it. Correct. So I picked up my Biovore, and I was like, all I need to do is put something on my home objective. Oh, wait, I can't.
Oh.
I cannot. And so I have to redraw it. And instead of that, I drew Assassinate. And he's got this Demon Prince sitting on my expansion objective, and I'm going to want to go kill him anyway. Though I just needed to have my Hive Tyrant alive and on it, because I had my Zoanthropes and Neurotyrants that he had bumper card the previous turn.
Yep.
So I'm scoring it no matter what, unless he kills my Hive Tyrant in close combat, which he won't.
He won't, yeah.
Demon Prince.
Yeah.
But I need to kill him, right? It's one of those moments where it would have been real cool if you had any access to mortal wounds in Tyranids, but whatever. I've got a whole Hive Tyrant. He hits on 2s. He's twin linked. He'll have a free hit reroll because he's a Hive Tyrant and he can do that. So I handed him 5 saves. He passed 3 of them and then CP rerolled into a 4th one, which would be enough because he only had 3 wounds to start the turn. But he has a Feel No Pain, and he passed a 5 of Feel No Pain. So his guy didn't die, and he won by 1 point.
Hey, I've never.
But like I said, nothing I could have done to prevent that. So I can at least rest my head on that.
Yeah.
But me and Justin, right? Yeah, me and Justin always have awesome games. He's a great guy.
Yep.
But yeah, I was just like, the tragedy. And I still think it was the right play, for the record, to pick up the Biovore, because that was the only card I needed him there for.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at your options of hey,
I did. I was like, this is what I could draw.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
And it was tragic.
Heart of the cards, baby. Heart of the cards.
Yeah. It was a good game. Also the other crazy variance thing that is the 12th reason why I lost that game by 1 point. So he walks up and he has this unit of 5 possessed, and he has them recovering assets off to the side, kind of on the outer edge, outside of his deployment zone. So he had to cross over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I can drop down my Zoanthropes. And if they kill these guys, then he still has the recover assets card, and he's going to be real upset about that.
Yeah.
But I famously don't trust my Zoanthropes because they have 2 weird profiles. Their Flamer is good, from the Neurotyrant, but it's 2d6, so on average that's like 2. But the thing that I don't trust about my Zoanthropes, even though they hit on 2s because of the Neurotyrant, is they have one profile that's D3 damage, but it's only AP2, so AP1, and he actually wasn't getting cover somehow, hilariously.
Wow.
But I was like, well, if he Armor of Contempts these guys, then all of a sudden 4-ups and D3 damage means we're probably not killing them, even though it's D3 shots with Blast, hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s. And then you could do the lethal hits, which are D6 plus 1 damage, AP3, so you're definitely saving on 5s. But I'm like, that can go sideways because it's only 1 shot per dude. Yeah, it's hit on 2s with lethal hits, wound on 2s, but you make some 5s and then you don't die.
Yeah.
So I didn't trust my Zoanthropes to get the job done. And I really wanted to keep him having recover assets, right? So in addition to that, I sent out an entire unit of Gene Stealers with a Broodlord. 10-man unit of Gene Stealers with a Broodlord. Now, he's got these 2 Vindicators, and, at that moment, he was chapter mastering them because he had Abaddon in his list as well. But I'm like, well, whatever. Like, your 5s don't work on Overwatch because he had them on crit 5s. But he just pressed the Overwatch button, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose like 2 or 3 Gene Stealers, right? Like, this is the thing. How many 6s could you really roll? Because I think he had sustained as well.
Yeah.
With that, but I was just like, whatever. He killed 8 Gene Stealers.
Oh, wow.
With a single Vindicator in Overwatch. And I'm still not sure how it happened. Like, he is not, in no world is he a cheater. Like, but I just I want to audit those dice and be like, how do this do? Like, yes, every 6 is double because it's sustained, but I'm just like, I don't understand. And I swear to God, and this is probably not true, but I swear to God, his main gun only killed like 2 or 3 Gene Stealers, and then like his trash guns killed like 5 more somehow. I don't. Again, that's probably not true. He'll probably like see this and be like, "Dude, that's so."
You can run all the stats you want, and sometimes you just roll 5s and 6s and you win games.
Well, no, not 5s. Remember, 5s don't count on Overwatch.
Just 6s.
Just 6s.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
man,
like it still got the unit dead, and I did still need that. The Zoanthropes did not do their job, as I knew they wouldn't. But so like I did get the unit, but in retrospect, right, like. Him scoring that card and then drawing another one, sure, that's nice. But me having an entire Broodlord unit, also nice. Although I guess you could argue that eventually you're going to get Overwatched, and so that could have happened at any time.
Yeah.
I just did not need it to happen at that moment in time. So that was my biggest, like, you've got to be kidding me, other than not killing a 3-wound Demon Prince.
That happens too.
It sure does. All around great game, but I was just like, oh man, just like... If normal things happen, I think I'm fine. Maybe not winning by 20 points, but like not losing.
Not losing, yeah. That happens. I think Charles ran into the big bag boogeyman of the Northeast, Alex Miller, running his Nurgle.
Unkillable Nurgle.
How many Nurgles is he running again?
Only 42, dude.
He could have run 54, but he's a coward.
42 with 60 Poxwalkers, a couple of
PBs. Crawlers, which was
a
counter for.
How is this a Death Guard army again? Please remind me.
I'm just letting you guys know the name of his list is called "I hope you enjoy the look of your deployment zone."
Yep.
So
dude, I wanted to play him all weekend long.
I know you did.
Oh
yeah,
I'm so unlucky.
So I know this is a very much of a stat check, right? Army. And this is the one loss I think you had, right, Charles? The whole weekend.
This is my one loss. So, Necron.
First off, did you get first deployment?
No, I did not.
Boom. Did you get first turn?
No, I did not.
Bad.
Even
so you're already set up for not
winning. Jail.
Yeah, to get jailed.
So the thing is, of the missions that we had to play, Burden sucks because you don't get points for holding your home. However, Search and Destroy is not so bad because even with a 9 Nurgling drop turn 1, for the first drop, he can't screen the whole there's a spot where I can drop my flayed ones.
You should put your flayed ones probably. What layout are you in? Sorry, I forgot.
It's Search and Destroy. Oh, we're on layout 4 on that one.
So that corner you put flayed ones in the corner on that ruin. Okay.
Basically, yeah. So he had the first drop, which sucks because I couldn't zone my expansion.
Yeah,
but
smart.
I was able to zone his expansion.
Yep.
Such that it gives me a path for the warriors to get there on my turn.
Yeah.
And harass his expansion. It would have been a lot better. I probably win the game like easier. I mean, if I go first or anything, but if I get the first drop, so that I can hold my own expansion, because I don't hold my own expansion this game until turn 4.
Wow.
Also because yeah.
That is not it.
That is not. Yeah. It's one of those lists where it's like you respect it because it's kind of crazy, but at the same time, it's like I'm not going to have fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to have fun. They wouldn't let me have fun.
The other thing is we both clocked top of 4, which is
okay.
rough. That list is kind of encouraged that, just because like Necrons aren't known for their damage, but I can kill those things. I just need to do them like as fast as possible.
Yeah.
First, it didn't quite happen.
Yeah, again, you need those turns 100%.
Yeah. Clock's an asset, right? I mean, we always hear this from all of us. We play all the time, but clock is another asset we have to manage.
I'll note that the final score is 44 me to 48 him. He wins by 4 points. I miss one of my guards because I shoot my Ghost Arc at his Nurgling because I'm like, because in Wrath, I always kind of need those shots.
Yeah.
Now, it ended up not mattering for the game, but I should have just guarded there to be safe. Really, I should have had like my Reanimator or somebody on the objective instead. So I didn't about the shot so much.
It's one of those games where you play it once, and if you get lucky, the first drop or first turn or second turn, then it's like the whole different ball game, right? Whereas if you got second drop, you got second turn, it's what he wants, right? His army's built for jailing you.
And I think I could have won this game as is for sure with a couple of different things. Like I said, Scorpec failed a 5-inch charge that would have gotten me my primary turn 3 instead of
dice, baby. Dice, yeah.
And the guarding mechanic, you don't see it as much. A lot of people just say don't play this mission so you don't get practice with it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's better than playing soccer balls. So.
But what he does in this game is he charges all of my units. Like I deploy on the line with Scorpec, I deploy on the line with Warriors. I joined the Royal Warden to the Warriors for this game.
Okay, interesting.
Because I know that no matter what, my auto 6-inch advance isn't going to matter. It's going to be able to fall back, shoot.
Smart, very smart.
So,
it's game time decision. Actually, that's smart.
And I get to harass his expansion, and I do all that stuff. But he charges all of my my like destroyers and Imitex Lich Guard unit with Nurgling's turn 1, and I thought I feel like that's probably a mistake.
Okay.
Just because like it's an extra activation. Like I killed one of the Nurgling units top turn 1 with 1.5 Scorpec units and a Lich Guard unit, but he did tie up the other 2, which is I guess good for him. But I feel like it might not be. I feel like it's probably better just for him to advance all of them and be like, "Hey, you were minimum
jailed."
deployment zone. I don't know.
So you guys pretty much got jailed, played 4 turns of Warhammer, and you guys had a really close game too. What was the end score there?
It was 48 him to 44 me.
Wow. So not terrible, right?
Very tough there.
Not super terrible. That's not bad though. I mean, I would be proud of that.
That's a life lesson in yourself turn 5 clock no matter what.
Yeah. And especially your Necron list is time heavy, right? I mean, it's time.
It generically is. There's a lot of stuff with like the fight phase for round 3 or something was pretty crazy because it was me charging warriors onto an objective that he held with like poxwalkers. So it's
you have to roll those dice.
How many bodies can I get on that objective versus his to take it off of it?
Yeah, you have to roll those dice, right? So
you got to roll those dice.
So you're 1 loss for the weekend, which not really a bad loss, right? Yeah. Luke, you ran into CSM after 2, right? I believe.
Yeah. So
you played a Pack Sound Zealous. Wow.
Yeah, apparently that's the thing that people do. Is they run Pack-Bound Zealots. I was shocked not to see a single Renegades or Creations player.
I was gonna say,
but again, like matchups are matchups.
Yeah.
This guy actually.
Which is Earth and Crucible.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to mispronounce his name, so I'm not going to attempt it. But great guy. His son actually was at the GT as well.
Is this Whelan?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Father-son duo.
Yeah, really nice people. Yeah, really nice.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely great.
Yeah.
So he was in the Emperor's Children waiting room so clearly.
As every
and I respect
is.
that. I mean, like, he's in classic Emperor's Children colors. Like, everything is Emperor's Children, and he's just waiting for it to exist. So for the meantime, he was running pack bound. And he had an interesting list. It was very vehicle heavy. And layout 4 is kind of weird because there are sight lines in specific places kind of all over the place. But it's like, if you don't stand in those sight lines, yes, you have to be in specific spots, but you can kind of safely project threat onto the middle objectives with melee.
Yeah, you can.
And so it was really kind of a masterclass in how to Vanguard, when like everything that I did, I was setting it up, and then during his turn, he was like, I could go here, and I'm like, yep. And he's like, and if I go here, I can't see you, and I'm like, yep. And he's like, and if I go there, I can't see you, and I'm like, yep. And if I go there, you're gonna lone op, and I'm like, yep, because that's the only spot where I would lone op.
Oof.
It was quite difficult. He had some good plays. He did disrupt my natural expansion for a turn. And he had these hero terminators who ingressed in full line of sight of my zone throat brick and just said, what are you going to do about it? And I said, I'm going to make you take some saves. And he's like, I'm going to pass those saves. And then I'm going to walk up and just punch you.
Wow.
And he absolutely did. So that was really cool. I wound up collapsing the flank that he had on my natural expansion. So he just ran out of models there and I didn't.
Yep.
And I had the probably the rudest battle shock thing that happened, which, by the way, there were a lot of rude battle shock things that happened because I had this enhancement where they, on a 2+, when you drop down, as long as my Hive Tyrant's alive, which he is unless I'm a moron, you just take a battle shock check. I have to roll a 2+, but you just take a battle shock check on drop.
Oh, wow.
Which means that, like, if you want to strat your unit, you have to pass this battle shock check. Was it him?
That's pretty good.
Oh no, the Gene Stealer Cult player probably had the Gene Stealer Cult player probably had the rudest battle shock where he dropped down his what was it? Or am I thinking of the RTT? Maybe, but
so many games.
March
has been crazy.
Dude drew establish, and he's like, I have this one character. And I left a spot literally in my home backfield, and it was the little gun dude. What's his face? I don't know.
For CSM Cypher?
Cypher guy?
No. This wasn't CSM. I'm thinking of Gene Stealer Cults. It's their little gun dude.
Yeah.
But he dropped him down, and he's like, I'm going to establish Locus. And I said, hold on. 2+, take a battle shock check. He failed it. You're not establishing. And the dude and he had to spend a 6-inch deep strike just to get there. So he spent his 6-inch deep strike, struck in for the CP, failed the battle shock, didn't get to establish a Locus. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, bro. But no, the second only to that was this, where I walked up a unit of Tyranid Warriors, advanced up out of Ingress, and he had a 10-man Chosen Brick on his natural expansion that had just finished murdering one of my Gene Stealer units. And
Chosen do that.
He only had 1 CP, so he couldn't interrupt. So I went like everywhere else first. And then I was like, okay, well, it's time to go here. And I said, so I've got this stratagem that gives me +1 to hit.
+1 to hit.
But I said, I'd like you to take a battle shock because could be +1 to wound, which would be cute, right? Especially because the unit hits on 2s, then rerolling 1s with sustained, like it's nastiness.
Yeah.
And twin linked. But so he takes the battle shock and he fails it. He got pretty visibly annoyed. I don't want to say upset because he was a great sport.
That hurts,
the reason why the reason why it really hurt was because he had a 4-up fight on death.
Yeah.
And guess who's not fighting on death when you're battle shocked?
Yeah.
Anyone.
Wow.
So I literally took the 10-man Chosen unit, punted them into the sun, and that was bad.
Wow.
For the Chosen unit, because half or more of them could have just killed my warriors in return on the spot. That obviously didn't happen. And again, this game was never in doubt. He did play a little bit too passive because he kept trying to keep safe with his tanks and get sight lines, but he later realized that he wasn't ever going to get those sight lines, and he had to get within range to put OC on objectives to make me come out, and just generically to stop my solo lictors from holding stuff on the middle and the natural expansions. So I think this is one of those things where if he played the matchup again, he would probably do better. He just wasn't aware of the tempo he needed to have.
Yeah.
And I think that's generically true with Tyranids, where people aren't, or Vanguard specifically, where people don't tempo fast enough to make me use my resources. And so then later it's like, okay, this is great. I still have models on the table.
You're just doing whatever you want.
Yeah. The CSM player that I played in the previous round, he did that very well. He tempoed well. He made me use my resources, and I had to, or else.
Yeah.
And as a result, I had very little at the end. I mean, when was the last time you drew freaking hold your home objective on turn 5 and you didn't have a resource that could get there? You know?
Yeah, seriously, for real.
So yeah,
no, you had a great showing. You had a great GT. Ended up in 8th, which is absolutely fantastic for the Shark Fest that was here. So
yeah, no, it was a great event, definitely.
Nice showing. Charles, I think you played an All-Star right at the end there. Zach Hiltz, yeah.
Yeah, Zach Hiltz playing
his Blood Angels.
Yep.
Wow, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's absolutely a fantastic guy.
Attachment. It just makes character units a lot more reliable across the board with rerolls, fall back and charge, plus strats support.
Now, did Zach fall for the warrior trick, or did he ignore it actually?
So Zach, this situation is a little different because Zach has he's running a big unit of Sanguinary Guards, so 6 of them with Dante. And Dante does a battle shock at the start of the fight phase at -1, and he's got 38 damage to attacks with like AP3.
Yeah, that's a real unit.
That's a real unit.
With Oaths, I've definitely got to respect them. I think they also have Lance if you really want. All these 1-2s most of the time anyway.
Yeah. Well, and he's +1 to hit to the unit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a very scary brick. They definitely could threaten to just pick up the unit. So I played a little more cagey there. We're also playing Scorched Earth, so I didn't have to like get 15s.
Just get 10s and be happy.
Get 10s. So what ended up happening this game was I played a little more cagey than he did. So I sent the Warriors along the flank towards his expansion, leaving him like a 10-inch charge with the Dante brick to get to them each time.
Did he hit it?
No, he never went for it
until
I was in the middle, like turn 5 or whatever. Basically, we go back and forth trading on the middle. He puts out his lone op lieutenant that gets back up. I put out a locust unit to force him to reactive off. He goes outside of lone op range, so I chip he has a lancer in the list, so I chip the lancer.
Just classic Scorched Earth middle objective stuff.
Yeah, so I kill 5. He tries to oath flayed ones and kill them with a gladiator lancer, not Reaper. Reaper would nuke them in the sun, but the lancer does not. The lancer leaves them alive, so I get my 10 no matter what. On that turn. Thanks, Chris. And that's kind of how it goes. Like the first 2 turns, I didn't want to try to do charges with him just yet because the Sanguinor was a pain in the ass. But I knew I'd have to do it eventually, and that's what happens turn 3.
Yep.
The Sanguinor just top of 3. I went first this game, which is ideally I would not, but it gives him a little bit of a back end scoring advantage. So the Sanguinor comes down, neuters a Scorpek unit, in which case that means he kills the Scorpek themselves, leaves the Lord alive, so the Lord's not like punting the Gladiator Lancer into the sun because it doesn't have hit rolls.
Yeah.
And I'm screwing with his expansion objective. We're throwing random stuff onto the middle. He throws out a smaller Sandguard unit. I kill it with Scorpek. Another brick of him, and at some point we both in 4, like we both spend a lot of our time thinking about our scoring, so we're both kind of low on time. And I missed a deep strike zoning play in turn 3 where he has 2 Lancers in his list, Gladiator Lancers, and I have a Ghost Arc that keeps my Warriors alive. So I have it on my home objective, doing some zoning, but it's not. I had it out of the shooting lanes that were potentially there. But at that point, one of the Lancers is tied up in combat and couldn't see me anyway, and the other Lancer is also tied up and can't do stuff.
Yep.
So I end up missing a zoning play where he gets to drop 5 Reavers from Deep Strike with a Phobos Lieutenant, and they have like move shoot move.
Ooh.
So he ends up harassing my home objective turn bottom of 3 because of that play, and I almost lose 5 primary there, but I pull Warriors out of coherency in a combat that's ongoing, so that I can kill them, resorb, and reanimate back onto the objective and hold it turn 4. Otherwise, he wins that game because the final score is 67-64. Super tight.
Wow.
Super close game.
Gotta love that for game 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Zach's fantastic too. So.
But like, I didn't have to deal with that play at all if I just put the Ghost Arc out more because he wasn't able to shoot it.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, great job. I think, Charles, you ended up on 4th, right? With 1 loss, going X-1 for the weekend. Nice showing. Let's get into, let's see, this March has been crazy. The weekend after, we had Rogue State, right?
Yep.
So Rogue State, again, I think they put out a week before, and then it was sold out with 32 players for an RTT, which is insane. I think we actually got Cody joining us here too. Let me add him. There he is.
The man.
Oh.
Is it working?
Now he's unmuted. Welcome.
Up team.
We're going into our RTT for Rogue State for last weekend now, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So Rogue State was 32 players. We play an hour and 15 each clock, so 230 hours. So Warrior Brick, watch out. Yeah. Smaller RTT, yeah. No big names, right? Just
no one who's any good except for our washed up TL.
Yeah. Who ran, honestly, has been running the best events locally. I'm get home by 8 o'clock every night, which is I live an hour away from Rogue State.
2.5 hour rounds help with that.
Yeah, 2.5 hour rounds and tight 2.5 hour rounds too. No long lunches. We just eat lunch locally and we go. So, we all played our teams list. Right? Everyone played their teams. I was on my Dark Angels, Gladius.
Yeah, Charles, did you change your list at all from Palladium to the RTT or no?
No, I just before Palladium I added the Warden in instead of the Psychomancer because I knew.
Okay. And Cody, what were
and also Legion of Excess Battle Shots was going to be a pain.
Yeah, and I ran the exact same list.
Did this, Charles?
I can still hear him. Can you not?
What? Is there an issue?
I think the issue is that Chris is.
Oh, he looks frozen.
That's a good picture to freeze on. So
he looks pensive.
That's fine.
Yeah, very.
Well, while we're waiting for him to come back, I guess we can bring Cody in. Hilarious that the show just keeps going on without him, even though he's the host. So Cody, you brought some guns to that RTT, huh?
Brought some hammers.
Some hammers. Throwing hammers, though.
Yeah, I have a big cannon, circus style.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you're playing guard, hammer the Emperor.
Yeah, would Chris timeout?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he has some internet issue.
All right. Well, I think at some point, too, they should stop calling it a Rogue State RTT and more of a mini GT with the amount of competition that goes on in there. Definitely good. Charles.
Yeah, but that would encourage them to do 3-4 rounds a day. Even though Anthony would never allow it.
Yeah. How fast they go, we could squeeze a shadow round in, but I don't think many people want to stand there all day. Leaving 6:30 is nice.
Specifically, Anthony has stated he will never do that.
Yeah.
So we could do it, just for funsies, but he's going home.
He's going home, yeah.
It was a good RTT. Dan Gornatke took first 3-0 with his Custodes, and Big Charles second place with the bots.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a. Did you guys? Let's run our rounds real quick.
Yeah, me and Cody are scrubbing it down in 6th and 7th here.
Yeah, turn your jerseys in, right?
Yeah. You have to give me my jersey first.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's right. Back.
It has been ordered. So it has been ordered.
Good.
That's good.
Once Luke gets it, he has to turn it in.
Yeah,
exactly.
So let's go. Yeah, let's go around.
Chris, notably, we're doing differential for this tournament, so it's
we are doing WTC scoring, which is helpful for us because we're just getting ready for that anyway at BFS.
Dude, Anthony's just going to turn us into the American WTC at some point.
Okay, I've been playing WTC on the Stat Check League, and it is wild, man. The maps is I played Wind Rider host this week or yesterday, and played against a German guy, Sebastian, super great. I was like, what are these maps?
I like the ones a lot.
There is so
They're
much
different.
hiding. Like there is hiding everywhere. I was like, I just moving Deathwing Knights left and right. I was like, oh, these boys aren't going to get shot. Until you get shot by a guy who only plays WTC because he knows every single angle. But anyway, sorry, off topic.
Pre-measure, Chris.
Pre-measure is good, I heard. Let's go into round one here.
We're playing layout 1 again all day today.
All day layout 1, which is honestly my bread and butter at this point. I love layout 1.
Well, that's because I don't know if Anthony will ever switch off layout 1.
It's just a good practice,
It is, and there's a lot of reasons why he does it, but it's just funny because anytime we see layout 1, we're just like, oh, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. It's a good combined you know, you can get a little everything, a little hiding, good shooting lanes. So
I do think it's a little melee skewed, truthfully, but
yeah,
you know, that's okay. I'm not going to complain.
Like I was talking about, like it doesn't have great ingress positions unless you're
small. That little
or if you can deep strike ingress into that corner.
That corner is actually not that bad, actually. But
it's if you're a unit,
let's go through. I guess me and Cody haven't told about our list. Yeah, I'm playing Gladius, Dark Angels, 15 Deathwing Knights, a bunch of stuff, trash, LT, Azzy with some Assault Intercessors, just winning to get 10-10s as much as possible for teams and just play anything. What's that?
Do you have Sammy on this list?
Oh yeah, Sammy and the 3 Outriders who hit like a brick, and everyone who I tell them, hey, turn 1, I can go this far and I can advance and I can do this, and they're like, yeah, and then I'm like,
yeah, it's fine, you won't, and then you do.
Turn 1, and guess what Chris does every single game? You throw a Sammy out there doing damage 3 with a lot of AP and a nice, 7 strength, so it's not too bad. But so round 1 for me, I played Frank, one of our locals, Dirt Sheet Frank there. He played Black Templars. It did not go well for him. Black Templars and Deathwing Knights they don't get along. Deathwing Knights just sit there with AOC and just take a beating every single time, and then I just interrupt. So I just kind of like saved my CP a lot for the first 2 rounds. Actually, I believe I didn't leave my deployment zone the first 2 rounds. I had the LT combi out. I just drew cards that just didn't I didn't have to leave my stuff at all. So round 3 came along, and I was like, no, what? I guess I should start playing this game. And I just throw Sammy out there, and he just destroys a brick of just bros. And then then it just come right out. Thunder Strike came out, killed the transport. Next thing you know, Deathwing Knights are on his expansion. They're in the middle, and they're on mine. And he just is like, turn 3. It's just didn't look great.
You went first, didn't you?
I did. And
I'm looking at the score line, and I'm like, if you left him alone for 3 turns, how did he not score more points?
I just controlled the tempo of the game pretty early. I knew I had to save my CP for either an interrupt or fight on death, either one. And I just had or just both, which is what I do against orcs a lot too. But so cleaned up pretty well there. We called it by round 4 pretty much. We had a lot of time, so again, a great game, but nothing you could do. I had a couple good turns of draws. And then next thing you know, I'm in his deployment zone round 3, and it's just
that's a very Anthony moment where he will play 1 round of 40K, and then that's the end of the game.
Yeah, I was just like, you know what, Sammy wants to go fast, and I just called the Salt Doctrine, and then my whole army just rolled right up. And you know what? I think was it Luke? You told me about the rapid ingress beacons. Was it you or someone else? I mean, use your beacons. Use your beacon. Maybe it's Alec. I think maybe it's Alec. He's like, use your beacons.
I've definitely said that to you. I don't know if I said it
use your beacons. I'm like, you know what? I'll bring a token for the beacons, and I'll actually try to use them this RTT. Guess what?
It might save you a CP.
It did every game. Every game I played that weekend or that Saturday, I literally rapided into the little ruin. It's a great spot for Deathwing Knights.
Well, and what's cool too is you can put the beacon somewhere that is a little bit disrespectful sometimes. Then sometimes your opponent will walk up and be like, okay, I'm going to stop you from using this. And you're like, okay, so I'll use a real CP. And now you've grossly overextended yourself.
I'll talk about that round too, but I did kind of. I do love little mind games here and there when I play some 40K.
Something that's not clear about your list. I see that you're Dark Angels. Yes. Are you guys loyalist Dark Angels or heretic Dark Angels?
Okay, we are very loyal.
Okay, but don't you kind of have to say that? Would you tell me if you weren't?
Oh, no. Wait. I have no secrets.
I think they have a don't ask, don't tell.
Okay, see, that's how we know he's lying. All right.
Let's go to the Imperium man himself. Cody, what was your round 1? What was your list? What were you doing?
Oh, so you're not the Imperium man. Got it.
Not the true Imperium man.
For the Emperor.
Round 1 was good. I played Hammerless, 2 Rogaldorns, 2 Lehman Russ, ton of Toroks. Each of the Toroks, though, had the Engineers and the Flamer package in them now. Even though the Engineers got a nerf, they could still put out the work they need to. It's only a D3, but a 2D3 now into vehicles. They're sort of in line with the Kashyyyk Meltamine, just a little further range.
Is it for vehicles and monsters or just vehicles?
Vehicles and monsters.
Okay,
so all these nerfs were live for the RTT, yes?
Yeah. We played
okay.
the nerf live gate, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
And that's why we didn't see any Legion of Excess.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Did Cody play Legion Excess?
No, I played Shadow Legion.
Shadow Legion.
Yeah, see, it's different now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played into Francois from Carcosa. Great guy, good opponent. It's just a normal theme with the army is just turn one, I try and jail you real fast. You know, Toroxes go quick, right through walls, dump out the infantry, line them up. And then it allows me first couple turns to try and build up my CP economy. So then once you chew through all the infantry, that actually hurts for 70 points each. Then you got to deal with tanks that can advance and shoot, fall back and shoot, go through walls and shoot. Then hopefully by then I'll have a higher primary differential. But Francis's list was good. He got the first roll for first. He ran up the ACDC brick and sort of tagged my whole army.
I hate that brick.
Yeah, they
hate that brick.
Yeah,
you haven't even seen it until you've played it in Shadow Legion.
Oh, I've played on TTS against it. It's just not fun.
Yeah, Shadow Legion
they get to scout an extra 3 inches.
Yeah, I'm not happy
or
about that.
Did he do the uppy downy enhancement on them, Cody?
No, he did the Scout 9. They came across that
good.
board real fast. And then being able to packs and sustains with Tormentors, that actually wasn't too friendly to 2 of my Hellhounds. So the next turn, they were able to get picked up pretty quick. What are they called? The Rogaldorans with 18 stubber shots. If you give them AP1, I mean, doesn't matter with a demon save. Wasn't too friendly to ACDCs.
Yeah.
And then his next big pushback was he sent a Bloodthirster downtown. Unfortunately, he whiffed everything into the Rogaldoran and the one attack.
And that was the one that if he killed you, he would uppy, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, unfortunately, 2 attacks went through for a total of 6 damage, but it was on the Dorn with the Feel No Pain. I was blessed by the Emperor that day and saved 4 of the 6. So he only took 2 wounds.
To be clear, these are 6 up Feel No Pains, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, I just had to make sure in my head that was not wrong.
Oh, GW dice roll nice. And then, that Rogaldorn just fell back next turn, absolutely blew him back to hell.
Then, imagine if he wasn't there, but instead was ingressing on the next turn, how that could have gone.
That would have looked a little rough.
Yeah.
I think something really good with Hammer is just like having access to fall back and shoot for guard. I don't think you have that anywhere else, right?
No, only Hammer the Emperor. Yeah.
Yeah, every guard player I ask if you have it, and they're like, nope. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's go.
Yeah. That's what, Combined has a lot of hype right now because of the data balance update, but Combined is very good, but I think it can almost auto-lose to certain layouts and matchups, whereas Hammer, you could go wherever you want, whenever you want, and they just gave it every strat in the book. I mean, being able to have one of your big tanks, which is almost pretty hard to wrap around unless you have a larger brick, being able to fall back and shoot it is pretty nice. And then the Toroxes have a 27-inch threat range to deploy models because the Torox has the great rule if they can advance and still deploy units, they can function normally minus move. So being able to send those up, especially on a layout 1, turn 1, I can send a Torox for 1 CP onto your deployment zone.
When you go through walls and then you just auto advance 6, right?
Correct. Yeah, for 1 CP, the vehicle can move through. Also engagement. So a lot of people don't measure properly and forget that they can move through engagement. So like when he sort of tried to screen out some of his trash, I was like, he left a little bit of a wall there, but we did a game correction and let him fix it. So
Torox did they finally FAQ that?
No, so it's just they can go through engagement, but they can't end an engagement.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember there being some confusion about whether they could do that or not. That's good to clarify.
Yeah, it's good on you too. I mean, that's one of those things where you don't even think about it until it comes up. You're like, and then your opponent's like, "Oh, I didn't realize you can do that." It's like, "Yeah, dude, let's just fix this real quick,"
Yeah, exactly. That would have been a feel bad. And, that game ended a lot faster.
This is round 1 or round 2?
This was round 1 in the Shadow Legions. Yeah, it was good. The dice just didn't favor him as well as they should have. All of his big attacks whiffed pretty bad into the Rogaldorans, and then the Lehmans with the Rogaldoran. It was just overwhelming firepower. Everything being flat 3 damage is just horrendous to deal with, especially on a demon save. Like into his Bellacore, I shot 18 stubbers with +1 AP. That's putting him on a 4-up now because he doesn't save on. I thought he was a 2, but I guess he was always a 3. But anyway, demon saves don't like high volume.
Good armor saves.
Yeah.
No, they definitely don't like high volume shots. I mean, Shadow Legions was a crazy army though. The threat potential it has was just insane.
Yeah, I think it's one of those armies though, demons, where you're just like, oh, you don't have a base save, just an invul. It's like, okay, here comes all my crap shots where your Stormbolters now really can come into play, honestly.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Yeah, it's good. So Luke, let's get on to you. Round 1. Who'd you play? Do you remember?
Yeah, no, I'm just looking it up. So my round 1, shockingly, was another Gene Stealer Cult player. Like, I'm just the freaking Gene Stealer Cult whisperer now.
Are playing Tyranids.
You know, and like that makes sense, absolutely. But like, I ask all of them at the beginning. I'm like, all right, so you're ready to become biomass, right? And they're like, no, we don't like that. I'm like, what? I don't understand. Like, that's the whole point, right? For you guys specifically.
Yeah, right.
He was running, I think it was hosts. I'm just double checking here.
Yeah, he's running a host of Ascension.
Yeah, so he was doing it the way you would expect. 10 billion units. He was actually the guy who got Keller Morph scammed. Now I remember. I was not at the GT.
Yep.
Cody, you missed me saying he drew what's it called? Established Locus.
Yeah.
Used his 6-inch deep strike strat to get his Keller Morph in the farthest corner of my deployment zone. And I was like, all right, 2 up, take a battle shock. And he's like, oh, I failed it. And I'm like, okay, that's too bad. I guess you're not establishing any locuses there. And you gave me a color morph, and you spent a CP just to get him there. So that was a fun time.
That's
for him. He really got absolutely battle shock scammed. Gene Stealer Cults don't have the greatest leadership. And they're also going to be -1 army wide because of my Neurotyrant. And then Synapse gives another -1 if you're within 6.
They're just
Death gives a -1 if you're within 6. So like I could feasibly be making like 3 or 4 different units be -3 to their battle shock check with not too much trouble.
Yep.
And many of them will be -2.
Yeah.
And it turns out when you try and make a whole bunch of 9-inch charges, sometimes they fail. I think he failed 7 out of 8, and then on the turn he brought stuff down. Like literally everything failed except for 1 unit on the 2+, and failed the check. And those are not modified; they're just take regular 7 leaderships. So yeah, he had a turn and a half where his whole army was nothing. And one cool thing about Vanguard that a lot of people don't remember or don't know at all: if you're battle shocked and you're within 12 of my Neurolictor, who I do go to great pains to keep fairly safe usually, you're going to be -1 to hit, and I'm going to be +1 to wound you, shooting and melee. Though shooting, it doesn't really matter. But it just turns your efficiency a little bit upside down. And it damage amps my army, which weirdly is actually an army that does need some damage amp. People joke about like how much damage like Gene Stealers and Tyranid Warriors do. But they're strength 5, strength 6, man. Like it's not that exciting.
Yeah.
So into tougher stuff, like the damage amps really do matter.
Yeah.
So getting those +1 to wounds for my whole turn, because I'm battle shocking you in your command phase. So your battle shock for your whole turn and my whole turn. It's a really, really big deal. And yeah, like he absolutely got devoured, got fed to the hive mind. He was a nice guy. And to his credit, I don't believe he clocked out, despite playing hosts in 2.5-hour rounds. But yeah, he did good.
Nice. So good win there, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, 19-1. Okay. It was really 17-3 because he actually wasn't painted.
Come on.
But yeah, exactly. But point being, yes, it ended well.
Nice. Charles, let's run through yours real quick. I'm sure. We'll see. Round 1 for you was.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Will Caruso.
Oh, Will. Yeah.
Deathwatch.
Deathwatch boy. Yeah. The only guy.
So he's cool. He actually played at my locals RTT the weekend before, which was funny. I heard good things about him, so I was happy to play that game for sure. It was a good time. He's running a bunch of kill teams. The whole idea is kind of drop and shoot you. He did have 2 units of Deathwatch vets, one with a Judiciar with Thief of Secrets, so they have fights first, and the Judiciar is damage 3 or 2 plus D3, and the vets are all damage 3 with hammers. Generally, I'm really good at killing marine bodies because all of the Scorpec and the Locusts are at least damage 2. There's damage 3. I've got lethals and a bunch of stuff right there. So I felt okay about that matchup because this is the kind of game where as long as he doesn't make like charges, I'm holding the objective any can't kill my warrior brick also. I've checked that map before. It takes a long time for him to do it. This game ends up at 12-8. I win 88-74. I tag him with a lot of stuff where I can. I kill the Scorbeck where I can. I did make a mistake in top of 3 where I hadn't played into the Judicia brick before, and I didn't respect the heroic that he was going to have. So the Judicia and 2 of his Deathwatch vets killed one of my Scorbeck bricks. Just
precision, yeah, natural.
He doesn't even need precision. He just kills
the whole unit. He kills the whole unit, yeah.
So I think I could have probably tagged them with the Warriors first. I don't remember what exactly that game state was like.
Yeah.
But really, I should have just not charged in that situation. So that's kind of what made it a 12-8. It gave him a lot more play into finishing out the game there. I think he had a bottom turn also, so that helped. But
so the boys are on a roll. We have 3. Everyone's running first game, right?
Yep.
Nice. Let's roll into. Yeah, probably hurry up here. I gotta
go. What do you mean 3? We had 4.
Yeah, we had 4. Man.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You exist.
4 of us here. 4 of us all won. Yeah. Round 2. Let's see here. I played Dylan. Okay. This game was really fun.
Oh, not the Dylan I played.
So
comparing to you after
I'm used to playing Dom, who plays the good version of Votan, and I was
poor Dylan.
Oh no, you'll see. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be a tight game, right? Me and Dom's last game was like points away, right? It was very, very close, and it was kind of a similar list, but he's playing Hearthband.
What does that even do?
I don't. It's a lot of shooting.
That's basically it.
Yeah, a lot of shooting.
Is it like Shooty Bile?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but I was like, hey, this layout 1, I can just kind of hide and do some stuff. And then when he kind of came in, I just hid behind ruins and I tagged him again. This one was a 19-1 for me. I went second, which really helped here. My scouts blocked out the middle, so when he had all of his Sangard come up and all of his Centaurs and all that stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just like kill those real quick with 1 unit at 3 Knights and some Predators, and then it was just kind of fell apart from there. He just made some bad saves, and Predators doing flat damage 3 is the drug, Cody. So I'm on that damage 3 drug now.
Yep.
It's only AP1, but with Summer Fire, it's AP2, ignoring cover. All of a sudden, those saves become a little tougher, and it's strength 9, so it's not terrible. So yeah, kind of got rid of all its trash stuff, and then round 2, round 3, just kept pushing. Not many games you get Deathwing Knights on their home objective, but it was at round 4. I had 5 on there, and I was like, okay, this feels bad at this point. But
that's disrespectful, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just kind of pushed through Deathwing Knights there, and he kind of a stat check for him, and he couldn't really deal with it all. I was able to hide behind the 2 middle ruins and then charge into everything I needed to. So I was not too impressed with Hearthband. Great player. Dylan was awesome. Told me what his list did. Told me all the great things he can do, and once you learn a way to play around that kind of stuff, it just your whole army just kind of falls apart to that. So Dylan was a great guy. We had a great game. Got an early lunch, so it was nice.
Yeah, a lot of armies, they find out that Deathwing Knights in particular, like you don't have the tools, you're gonna have a bad time. And I don't know why they've really seemed like they fell out of the meta. Maybe just because people were more excited to play ultras, which are a little bit better.
The plus one wound, right? I mean, you get the double oath and plus one.
There's lots of reasons why people are playing ultras. I just mean like Deathwing Knights never stopped being good. People just stopped playing them, and so now people are like, oh, this profile doesn't exist anymore. And you're like, what if it did?
So we got our increase, right? I mean, Marines got a little increase, Scouts went up, JPIs went up. So you just needed to, kind of flux the list a little bit. Yeah. And just build some Predators at home and you're good to go.
Seriously.
So you save some points there and put in some Predators, boys. Deathwing Knights are still good. Don't worry. Cody, you're round 2?
Yeah, round 2 I played our own Christian.
Oh.
Christopher Christensen.
Which Chris? There's so many.
It's the one with 4 Chris's. Demon's Chris. On our team.
We have so many Chris's.
I know. Chris with a K.
Can we like number them, or like how does this work?
Hey, Chris K is the original, so
yeah, first of his name.
First of his guy.
Yeah, so I played him on Custodes.
Playing Lions, right?
He's playing Lions on table quarters.
Wow.
I won the dice roll. That skewed.
I won the dice roll.
Yep.
Pretty heavy for me. Turn 1, the Castrican just jailed both his Caladiuses coming out the Toroxes.
Oh, and now Chris gets his revenge.
We'll wait till he gets back. Luke, let's talk about your. Oh, whoa, that was fast.
No, he's back.
That was fast.
Yeah, fucking Emperor teleported me out. War crimes. It was definitely war crimes that game. Both
I saw that score line just now, and I was very surprised.
I was also going to say the same thing. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it was the Castrican went off. They did both 11 damage equally. I had the same exact dice rolls into both Caladiuses.
Oh.
They were jailed in the corners. I just sent everything to try and stop him from keeping me in a corner. I picked up all his scoring trash. He just had his 3 Warden bricks left and his Terminator and Deep Strike and the 2 Caladiuses, which they couldn't move. They were wrapped up and in pain. He won his next turn. He shot my Castricans out and started advancing up out of the jail. But then to get out of jail, he had to go on some home points, which turned on the Lehman Russ's full hit rerolls. And flat 3 is not friendly to Custodes.
No.
When you have a lot of it.
Yep.
So it was just... It was pretty rough for him. He lost every turn. He lost a Warden brick. He couldn't score much. He had nothing left to get secondaries. He brought his Alaris Captain in. The Alaris Captain Terminator armor. I'm still in shock about it. He one-tapped a Rogel Dorn. He did 21 damage to the Rogel Dorn. He was pissed. Yeah. He fights.
Dude, that's just the Custodes lore, man. Like every Custodes player would be like, any one of them could have done this, not just a captain.
Just the captain. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Captain with all the juices was 3 AP, 3 damage, full rerolls all across the board, hitting me on 2s, wounding on 4s. Yeah, it was tough. It's sort of funny because the captain just picks up one of the biggest tanks in the Imperium, and then a guy in a gas mask with a flamer killed him in Overwatch.
Eating corpse starch before he got there.
Yeah, he put some poppers in his gas mask, and he went crazy. It was really good. It was a great game. Chris played as best as he could into it. It's just the dice roll really affected first, and then the Castrican really going off that hard was really big for me because they could also just flop, and if the Castrican weren't able to do as much damage and jail the Caladiuses, those would have really hurt my tanks next turn. The Caladius shooting profile is out of this world. It's on average, if I fail 3 of those saves on a high up save, it's just D6 plus 2 damage. It's going to pick my tanks up, and it would have been a whole different story.
They do hurt. Can confirm.
Yeah, that's what the advantage I feel the Hammer is over Combines. Like, because Hammer, you can you go where you need to go. At 18-inch, turn 1, you send your Toroxes across the board. A lot of lists I see you're trying to do cute stuff with like 3 or 4 Rogel Dorns and a lot of tanks. You gotta play Torox jail. I think that's the most optimized way to play the Hammer list. Been doing a lot of testing and playing with Anthony, and I think that's really the way to go with it. But yeah, other than that, the round ended. It was a 20-0. It was a good game. It was good practice for Chris, so he could get more understanding if he's paired into Custodes for our team event.
Hopefully, he doesn't get paired into that. Let's be honest. Yeah. Luke, let's go into your round 2.
Yeah. So who did I play around?
You played. You played Little Jack.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Another Gene Stealer cult player. How can I not remember?
Player, yes.
Like Mr. Everwinter himself.
Mr. Everwinter himself, Jack Murphy.
Yeah, no, it was really funny actually because he had more pure strain Gene Stealers than anyone else that I've played against. He had 3 5-mans, and it's always funny looking at their Gene Stealers and being like, brother, we're here. I have Gene Stealers. You have Gene Stealers. And they're different in 5 different ways for no reason, but okay. But no, I don't even remember what this match was. I just remember that he did not want to go first, and he went first. And he also got battle shocked to hell. I think he failed 7 out of 8 on like a crucial turn. Wow. He had a lot of guys coming down, failing their shocks. And also, it was actually really funny because he brought back his 10-man aberrant brick, and I screwed up. I left a spot where I should have put my spore mine to deny him the ability to strike.
Yep.
And he drew behind enemy lines, and so he's like, okay, I deep strike here. I'm behind enemy lines. And I'm like, all right, take a battle shock check. He fails it, of course.
Oh,
And I'm like, okay, well, then you are not probably going to make your 9-inch charge because he didn't have any way of bonusing that. But he did the detachment that got rerolls on his charges. So he's like, well, I'll just roll it. And if I need to reroll, I can reroll it for free. And it's not a CP, it's not a strat, so I can still do it.
yeah.
He does that. I don't even remember what he charged. It didn't really matter. But it was just really funny because, he made his charge. And I was like, oh, that's annoying. And then he whatchamacallit, he's going to score his behind enemy lines. And I'm like, wait a second.
Battle shocked.
You're not getting behind enemy lines, man. And he's like, why not? I'm like, because you're battle shocked. And I was like, as it happened, none of us realized it. But then when we went to score the score sheet, he was like,
yeah.
Plus, also being +1 to wound against aberrants is really good. Turns out they just go away.
Yeah, I think Jack's.
Yeah, no, that was it was a fun time,
right? Onto GSD for this to test out for some team stuff. So,
yeah, I mean, like I will say, I think it's supposed to be relatively drawish. But yeah, I definitely felt I had the advantage due to second turn and how he had to play more aggressively.
I mean, Jack's
also player. His freaking Ridge Runners, I believe it is, with the indirect mortars.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What the hell?
People sleep on those.
I think a lot of people don't take 3 of them like he did, but also he literally picked up turn 1 7 Gene Stealers. And I was like, if this is how this goes, this is bad.
Wow.
Because I can loan off one unit and then he just goes into the other one. And I'm like, well, this is not okay. He stopped doing that after turn 1. Thank God. But I was like, dude, I only have 30 Gene Stealers. If you keep killing 7 of them every turn with your indirect pieces.
Yeah,
by the way, also, who made these color morphs indirect at 24? What nonsense is this? Or not Kellamorphs, the Reductus Saboteurs that are, dude, they could have no gun and people would still take them just for the other abilities.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he had this really weird anti-Gene Stealer, just indirect gun line. And I was like, this is real unfortunate. Yeah, no, it was tight, but I don't think it was ever really in doubt. I always had the scoring advantage on him. So the real clinic would have been in a team setting. Like, did I need to push? Was I expected to push? I don't know, but it was tough for him, definitely.
12 is a good score, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think it was kind of like secured into that like very early on in the game.
Yeah.
And like just the game progressed normally. Like if you asked me to score 16, I probably could have tried harder, but the opposite, I don't think was ever happening.
Cool. Charles, you're round 2 for the day. Who'd you play?
I'm playing Frank, different Franks. He's running the new prototype Cadre Tau. It's just a bunch of MSU shooting. He had a bunch of breachers without any devil fish.
I heard MSU. The Warriors just got so happy.
Yeah, so and then he had like three crisis units, 2 with diffusion, 1 with flavors, I think. Yeah. So basically, like the warrior, he can't kill the Warriors at all. We're playing layout 1, so I can stage the score pick. This is on search and destroy, so I can harass all of the objectives like very easily. And that's basically what happened. Like, he couldn't kill the Warriors. I'm on the middle with him. He had a bunch of, like, recruit, so I picked up a couple of them and, like, half a stealth suit unit with warrior shooting. And the score pack just go from behind ruins and pick up crisis suits whenever they come close. I end up winning this game 20-0, 97-40.
Nice.
I don't know, like, even if this list is kind of like is not like optimized, especially because it's a new detachment, I'm not sure exactly what else like a Tau army can do about that, because they just don't have mass shooting. Even like the breachers with 30 shots and like in like Kalyan with rerolls,
it's just not enough.
It's not enough.
Killing their ability to take 6-man bricks. I think really makes that warrior unit just such a problem for them.
And they lost the 3-inch deep strike so now they're outside of Melta range. It's like
although into the warriors, like who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, yep.
No.
So cool. Like even the breachers don't do much because they're AP1 or like AP1 with ignore cover into the warriors with armor contempt, and then you've got the crypto thrall. So they tank up whole activations like across the board. It's crazy.
Nice.
So rough game there for him. We go out, we finish up fairly quickly, and we get on to round 3.
Nice. So we're in round 3. The boys are doing well. My last matchup is to the local legend, Batson. So Batson's pretty much the one. Yeah, he's playing Solar. Or no, he's playing Lion. Sorry, he's playing the new one.
Yeah, of course.
He's been raving on this for a while, and we pair
Turns
up.
out it's good.
Yeah, it's very good.
No one knew, but we found out.
Yeah, I've played it twice before on TTS. Both times was a 10-10 draw. A couple points here and there. So I kind of knew going into what to do, but he had bikes, and those bikes move real fast, and they hit real hard. So he kind of surprised me. Yeah, then they move again. So turn 1, he kind of surprised me. He did. He killed my LT combi, which you guys all know is my number 1 scorer of my army. So him being down early kind of was tough, but I did punch back pretty hard.
Predators. Isn't that the guy who has a 6-inch reactive move?
Yeah, no, he went around everything. and I was just like, wait.
See, that sounds like a you problem.
No, it was a you problem. Yeah, it wasn't me a problem. It wasn't me a problem. So, but the Gravis captain in armor was sitting right there. He came by, he heroicked in for free, and decided to punch, a couple of wardens out also. So that kind of helped me. Next turn, just kind of fell back, and I shot the rest of his bikes. So it was good. He had 1 big grab tank, which was nice because I didn't have to. If he had 2, I think I lose this game. But he had 1, and 1 just kind of pushed in the middle, and I was able to hold it back a little bit. And then I told him over and over again. I said, these Predators, man, they chew through Custodes. They love Custodes. Like they love Custodes.
They love Custodes that don't have a 4-up Feel No Pain.
Yeah. So I kind of. I think round 2 or round 3, I hit him with Deathwing Knights called Tactical Doctrine. Next round, everything fell back. I put one of my Predators in Dev, and I just Stormer Fired a Warden Brick, and I killed like 4 Wardens with just 1 activation. And I was like, bad saves on hit end, but still killed 4 Wardens, and then just kind of cleaned up from there. It was very him, the first 3 rounds, very looking good for him. But at the ends, I was able to push really hard, and I got it. I think it was like 80 to 78, but it was still a 10-10 draw. If you ever get a chance to play Batson, absolute pleasure. Gentleman to play. We had a ball. We play fast. Our games were done early, so
I traded you my round 3 opponent for that.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough. I had 3 great opponents all day long. I ended up pretty nice around like 4th, I think I ended up. We can play later. Sorry, my daughter.
It just looks even better with the green screen, honestly.
Yeah, it looks great in the trailer park. It works nice.
Yeah. And he's gone.
You know what? She vetoed that, and she said we're playing now.
Yeah, Chris finished good in the Batson with a draw, and had him 4th place. Luke, we'll move on with you.
Oh shoot, sorry.
Yeah, so I got a Custodes player also.
The Emperor was happy or not happy that I lost. But yeah, we might as well go into Luke because Cody and Charles, you guys played last round, right? Sweet.
Yeah. So no, I got also a Custodes player, except he did get the memo to bring 2 Palladius grav tanks, and he did get the memo to bring 15 Wardens instead of 5. And wow, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
The other thing that I did for Dan in a practice game a couple of weeks ago was I told him the secret to beating Tyranids, Vanguard specifically, which is to completely and utterly disrespect their damage output. Especially because he has the ability to fight on death. He has the ability to interrupt. Bad things can happen. And you have to commit so hard to kill a Warden Brick. Basically, like, he was just like, what if I put a Warden Brick right in the center, and then 1 on the right-hand side, and then 1 on the left-hand side, and then drove 1 tank up each flank and said, do something about it. I think he did wind up ingressing Trajan at some point. But again, he's just sitting on the middle objective, just vibing. And my whole army is like, well, this is bad.
Yeah.
And like the classic Anthony thing to do would be to say like, okay, well, he can only interrupt once, right? Except that's kind of not true because he can also fight on death. And it turns out that that's good enough. The classic meme of Custodes in this detachment of being like, hey, you got this +1 to hit thing. Who the hell cares? Custodes already hit on 2s. And I'm like, oh, but hold on. I have a -1 to hit from all 3 of my Broodlords, and I do care. I care a lot. So So yeah, that was a really, really tough matchup. I had to play super cagey, and I knew I was losing from the start. It was just like, how many points was I going to scrap?
Yeah.
There was a point where I might have salvaged like an 8-point or a 10-point like small loss into a draw. When I said, okay, it's go time. We're going to go into this Warden Brick, and we have this whole warrior unit like ready to be twin linked and, wounding you on 4s, AP2, 10 bajillion attacks, So you got to save your Feeling the Pains for the fight phase. And I also brought down my Zoanthropes, but that wasn't even to try and kill the Wardens. It was literally just to try and take his Palladium Grav Tank and punch it into the sun.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh no, that was the turn prior. Sorry. But so I brought out the Zoanthropes and a whole Gene Stealer unit with the Broodlord to just kill this Palladium Grav Tank.
Wow.
It was going to score me 9 points of secondaries, and my Zoanthropes did exactly 2 damage to it. Because Custodies be Custodies, but don't worry, it's D6 plus 1 damage. So surely I'm not going to roll a 1 and then CP reroll it and have it still be a 1 on damage. Yeah, that happened. But then I have a whole Gene Stealer unit, Dev Wounds, Broodlord, reroll 1s to wound, Broodlord's full on twin linked.
Your juice.
Still didn't die.
Yeah.
2s hit rerolling 1s, like it didn't matter.
Dan just got to roll 4s and 5s.
Well, no. For that, it was I didn't make him take saves. It was Dev Wounds or bust because he's T10.
Yeah.
The Broodlord made him take a couple saves, and of course he passed those. But it's mostly Dev Wounds. So I just wasn't able to put through the damage after my Zoanthropes did literally 0 damage. Sorry, literally the minimum amount of damage they possibly could have done. That
not zero amount.
They could have done 0, or they could have done D6 plus 1, which was 2. That's what they did. So yeah, that was actually quite crazy. So that was a huge flip in the game. And his Wardens fighting on death was a big deal. I didn't expect them to be battle shocked because Custodies have good leadership, but that would have been nice if that did happen. But yeah, I had like that was all in my natural expansion too. Like he's just living the dream on the whole rest of the map too.
Wasn't it Inspired Leadership also last round?
Yes.
Trajan was far away. It didn't matter,
okay.
But it just it was crazy because I don't know that there was ever a path to a big victory for me, just because I need to engage him all in the same phase. Kind of like with Custodies, kind of like with Guard. We know you're doing only damage in the shooting phase, so like Fort Feeling the Pains, like all around can be like really bad, potentially anyway. That's kind of what it was like for me, where I knew that I couldn't engage him on his terms because he's going to interrupt and fight on death, and then also fall back and do stuff because he had triple Blade Wizards. So like this just triple unstoppable Warden Brick was hilariously too good. The bikes and the bike captain, way so good. Although we did have a funny moment where he moved his bike captain to try and charge my Gene Stealers. I 6-inch reactive moved off of an ingress, so I was like almost on his home objective, and so he just needs to roll a 7 on his charge, and he failed it with a reroll, so that was kind of funny. But it was only the bike captain at that point. It didn't really matter. It was just random.
That whole unit is for the bike captain anyway, right? I mean,
no, but that unit is so good. Just come and go twice a turn, twice a game, because you're going to recycle the ability is so good.
That's
you're creating a whole new unit because you don't have to give up your unit.
Batson recycled the Invul for Trajan, I think it was, and I was just like, "You got to be kidding me!" He was just Trajan. It was just Trajan.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's just saying, "I'm going to do this," and you deal with it.
And Trajan just sat there, and I mean, we just had a pillow fight for like 3 rounds anyway, but still,
it was just
absolutely. Yeah, I'm impressed with Lions. I'm impressed. I'm happy that Chris is on him, who's on our team. He's playing them, so I look forward to.
I'm happy I don't have to play against that anymore because if we pair into that on teams, someone has screwed up.
Yeah, exactly.
If I pair into that on teams, someone has screwed up.
Yeah. Let's go to the boys last round. So Cody and Charles once again get paired up round 3, right?
Yeah, we had a barn burner. It was really good. Yeah, it was a weird fire though. It was a fire that, like, it didn't do a lot of damage, but it was really fucking annoying. You couldn't put out. It was more like a birthday candle, like the ones you blow out and it keeps coming up. So, like, at
what
one
kind of
point,
birthday candles do you use on your cake cooking?
not friendly ones. Yeah, it was good. I haven't played into Awaken too much, so I was a little testing the waters with the damage and stuff. I think going forward, the play would have been to be way more aggressive with tanks and sort of push into Charles a lot more. Really, the MVP for that game for him was that warrior brick was unending.
Yeah.
At one point, it was me naturally having to try and expand to my objectives. I had to go up, and then it got to the point where they just wrapped up into all my stuff. I think at my peak, I picked up 12 and 9 came back at the end with the strat. And I was
Seems
like,
normal,
dang.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, like, the other robots came out and they made like beep boop noises and they went to hell. But the warrior brick just jammed it up horrendously. It was a killer brick.
Yeah.
Going forward into that matchup again, I think I definitely have to be a lot more aggressive with the tanks than I was that game to try and just run over the other shit and get into his home point and get rid of like the reanimator and all the other stuff. But yeah, other than that, my experience into it, it was a great game. The warrior brick was just, you can't stop it. It was so,
It's very difficult.
yeah, even with all the volume I have, it wasn't enough into it. And then the juicy little combo they can to stand everything back up was killer.
Have you considered having even more volume?
Yeah.
I think the list is as optimized as it could humanly be.
Yeah.
Between
it's a very solid list, and like you have very similar output to the combined arms list that I played round 2 of the GT, and like that brick can definitely go away if you run, like, if the blast rolls hot and that kind of stuff, because I got down to 1 warrior at the end of the shooting phase the one game. But it's so variable that it's hard to say, that it's hard to be like, yeah, I'm going to kill this
right.
brick. And if you're not going to kill the brick outright, it's like, damn, I just don't touch them.
Yeah.
Right? It's so hard to be like, yeah, I'm just not doing anything about them.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was my idea turn 2 when you came up with them more. But then the theory was, if I focus all my shooting into the brick, I still have to respect, because your army gets the lethal hits and can do high damage output into my other tanks. And it's like, then if I lose there, what's the point of trading a brick? Then I'm going to lose a lot of my other output.
Exactly.
So it's more just sort of split firing, but I think I split fired a little too much and should have focused into some other things. Like, I think when I dropped the Casterkin in, instead of taking the gamble, thinking, oh, they picked up a Caladius, they'll pick up Ceresis, I should have had them pick up, he had the Locust Destroyers. If I picked them up, that would have gave me a pathway to send the Lehman into his home field to start getting rid of, like, the reanimate vehicles to get Charles off the home point.
Yeah.
That was the afterside into it. So Casterkin great into Caladius, Casterkin bad into big robot sucking on dead bodies.
Xeris is a tanky asshole, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely screwed up a little bit. I got because it was bottom of 1 or whatever with you all in front of me with a bunch of stuff, and I was like, I think I just kind of mismeasured like what exactly was going to happen, because I thought I was going to get tagging multiple tanks, and that just didn't really happen, right? Because I charged like the Scorpion, I charged the Warriors, and I tagged one of your Dorns, but I couldn't reach the other one, right?
Right.
So my mistake there, I put out 2 of my Scorpion units instead of, or all three of my Scorpion units instead. I probably should have put 1 just in my rune and have out safe. It's just weird to gauge, because I haven't played Hammer either, where you move so fast and disembark stuff that I thought you'd just shoot me anyway. But I already tagged or killed a lot of that stuff because you had them like harassing me turn 1.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting game for sure. We ended up not finishing out 5, which is tough, but that's kind of like short rounds. If we're not killing the warrior brick, it's a lot of like back and forth rolling, almost meaningless activations, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's what the game 1 in Shadow Legion, Francis, it took him, I think, 34 minutes of clock time to get the AC/DC brick across everything between all the phases and everything. He spent about 34 minutes on the turn. He won primal with the AC/DC brick. It's a clock killer.
The Philo pains are really what eat up a lot of your clock. You don't even realize it, but they really do. It really does. Yeah. Cool. So I think that through Charles, you got second, actually.
Yeah, Charles, big second. Dan first.
Dan first. Glad to see that. And Dom also. Dom getting.
Dom.
Rusty Dom.
Rusty Dom showed up and just took third, Pretty good.
Yeah, I think Dom's playing his RTT now into Votan. I mean, he's playing Votan into guard. He's going against Combine this morning.
Okay,
nice.
Hopefully he takes it, because he's really a player too.
Yeah. It was a good RTT. Hammer Park Tooks. We got a lot of the top seeds.
Second, 4th, 6th, 7th, 9, and 11. So pretty good.
Oh, cool! I'm back on the team.
for now. I gotta give your jersey back, but yeah. No, man, it's been a good March. Honestly, I'm looking forward to BFS. We are in full prep now. I think that we are.
April's gonna be a big month. We got a team practice day. We got 2 RTTs back to back. Could be 3 if we go up to Kerwin's.
Yep.
Out in the boonies.
We have it's time to kind of figure out if Doc is gonna get nerfed or not. Do we need to hop on? Someone need to hop on that, but we're only a month out. It's not that far away, actually. It's really not. And
so we'll see. I think 3 more majors this upcoming week. They said Mordaka is banned. I know Glasshammer is banning it.
Okay.
And then I saw yesterday was a nightmare at work, so I wasn't able to see. But I saw a couple updates coming in other group chats. People were saying Mordaka was banned at their events.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way going.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Kind of a good thing, but. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to April here. March is coming to a close with a lot of Warhammer we played. We spent 2 hours talking about our games just in March alone. And
it'll be a busy spring. Got the
definitely
Goblin Dice, Green Dice, Super Major June for us.
Oh man, we're so blessed to have like great locals.
Yeah, we're definitely spoiled in our area.
Yeah, we have great pros who are up here. Just will freely talk to you all day long and tell you anything you need and spray bottle you whenever you need, right, Cody?
Yeah, like someone that lives 50 feet away from me.
Can literally spray bottle you.
Yeah, right.
Late at night, I throw rocks at his window to give me hammer tips.
No, cool. I think we're good here. You guys have anything else you want to add before our March recap here?
No, I think that was a good first show.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do some more and recap after the next event in 2 weeks, and then
man.
One for BFS too. It'll be great.
Yeah, well, BFS will be a long one, but I'm excited. And we're going to be in the trenches in April. I feel like a lot of us, but
at least Cody will have his whistle.
Yeah, Cody, are you still sober, Cody? How you doing?
Yeah, I haven't bought an Army. Last non-guard model I bought was, I don't even remember. It's been so long. First time I can say that. Yeah, no, it's when I bought the entire Necron range in October, and then immediately sold it the next week. To Kenny.
Just an entrepreneur flipping.
Yeah, for real. But cool. Look forward to April. I'll see you guys on the other side here.
All right, good shot, boys.
All right, everyone have a good weekend. Take care.
All right, boys.